how would you encourage people that are living in the gap of unanswered prayer?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think it's good to not ignore what's going on in you and not to act all super spiritual. It's a fine line. We don't live by feelings, but we don't ignore them either. So, it's like we live by faith. That's what scripture says. But there are times where you feel things really deeply and it hurts really bad and you feel really discouraged. In those moments, you have to be honest about it before the Lord. Lord, I feel this way. In fact, if you're mad at God, he's not shocked, offended that you're mad. I think what he needs is that you're honest about what's
Mm.
going on. Because when the Lord showed up in the garden to Adam, after Adam and Eve had sinned, he showed up at a time they usually meet. And his question was not, Adam, how are you feeling today? His question was, Adam, where are you? In other words, you didn't show up at the time I expected you to, which we have been doing all this while some time back. So it's you show up to seek God, whether you feel good or whether you don't, whether life is great, whether life is not, whether you're depressed, whether you're sad, whether you sinned, whether you've not, whatever the context of life you're in, you have to develop a pattern of always showing up. Just get to a place where you learn to love on God, even in the midst of your pain. Also, another thing to understand is pain can be translated into a spiritual weapon.
Mm.
And here is where people don't understand things as priests. When you pray, what makes your prayer effective is the life behind the prayer. You're the priest, you're the temple, you're the altar, and you're the sacrifice. So you are like a mobile shrine. So if you're a priest, then you need to have an altar. And to have an effective altar, you have to offer regular sacrifices. So here's where the pain and the discomfort comes in. That pain and that discomfort can be converted into part of the sacrifice you're offering on the altar. So here's where people waste pain. The pain and the discomfort and all those things you're facing, you could actually convert it into spiritual currency.
That's so
I'm already
good.
getting excited right now. You prayed for someone, they died. You did this, you believe God for this, it hasn't happened. Your rent has run out, you're struggling. This is happening, that all that is now currency that you can see. You can now come before God and worship Him with that emotion, with that discouragement. And because of the story of your worship and the story behind your prayer, it carries a different fragrance in the heavens.